Hello and welcome to VNN's new episode of our discussion series. And we have with us Ambassador Praveen Verma, retired, and to continue a very interesting discussion as always. Welcome, Praveen.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, what's happening now? What are the latest thing in the news world? I mean, worldwide, nationally.
Internationally, the latest would be what happened today morning. Our morning, China's evening was the inauguration of the Winter Games.
So, India.
And I watched it and it was shown live by Canadian television. Canadian delegates were there, very happy.
Okay, I mean, the sports.
Sports persons, yeah. Of course, this inauguration was quite, look, when people were anticipating some sort of a difference because the diplomats have boycotted it. Many countries' diplomats have
India
boycotted
it.
India boycotted it.
Envoy said they won't go, but that is
Yeah.
for another reason, not the human rights issue.
Yeah. But Chinese themselves made this inauguration a very decent, a very somber, a very soft inauguration, which kept in the view of the local, their own problems, the COVID problem, and the very fact that this was being held in an environment which was one was not very sure whether it will actually happen or not. But the Chinese did it, and it was a wonderful show. And for the first time, the flame. First of all, it was here there was a googly in the sense that the Chinese did a thing of what there were two flag bearers, torch bearers, and one of them was an Uyghur flag bearer.
I'm sure he must have been sedated by the Chinese so that he just walks quietly without saying anything. I don't believe that any Uyghur will go and stand there.
No, he is one of the Olympic ski winners. He's a winner from previous Winter Games. And by putting that, they sort of silenced all the critics on the Uyghur angle. Yes,
But that silence, because I mean this, it's politics anyway.
it's politics anyway.
And of course, another thing they did was one of the another torch bearer was the soldier who fought in Galwan against Indian troops.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah, that is why the Indian government said the Indian diplomat envoy will not attend this function.
Okay.
They wanted to rub the India's face in the ground. They put one of the soldiers in, and they said he was a soldier wounded in the Galwan conflict.
I don't know.
Skirmish, that's what
When I was watching, all these runners were basically previous winners of the.
Yeah.
So maybe the soldier was also one of our skiers who won.
Of course, another thing was yesterday, an Australian paper called Klaxon, they gave out all this news saying intelligence reports saying actually 40 Chinese soldiers died in Galwan.
That even not confirmed.
Russia TASS news agency said, Israel said it, and now Australian paper, they said they have the intelligence reports and they have been going through social media reports about the soldiers
and there could be more. What I'm saying is that they say that there could be more also, which are still not accounted for, and actually they actually sort of were blown by the river,
washed away in the river. They were thrown by the Indian soldiers into the river.
No, not thrown. They came to dismantle, according to this story, they came to dismantle the bridge which the Indian soldiers had built to come and see what the Chinese are doing the mischief on the other side, on the road. And these went down, and then the Indians came in and wanted to send them back.
They tried to run away and they fell into the river.
And then they all fell in the river, and the river force also.
Indian news channels were saying, of course, Indian soldiers threw them into the river. Anyway,
but the story starts with a very interesting thing that in this time, and as even Einstein had said, that the later wars will be fought with stones and sticks.
Yeah.
And this skirmish between two countries which are nuclear powered, the skirmish started with only sticks and batons and all of that. Yes.
So anyway, that Olympics gets going.
Yes, and we hope that none of these issues.
But I don't think China enjoys any best wishes from all across the world.
There are a lot of speeches from the sports authority people about the sort of camaraderie which sports might bring in in this international era of discord and differences.
And of course, the Russian president is there, Putin is there, and Pakistani
Imran Khan is also there.
Yeah, and he said he's going there mainly to get a $3 billion loan to services other loans.
Yeah.
And also, what's happening in the Ukraine? I mean, Putin seems quite relaxed in China. Ukraine seems.
The Europeans are more worried because the Russians have only one issue. They don't want Ukraine to be a part of NATO, and they don't want any exercises, direct or indirect. Once it's NATO, then there can be direct exercises, military exercises. The Europeans are doing other indirectly training something which is sort of a threat for the Russians.
They don't want NATO on
the
doorstep.
They don't want the NATO on the doorsteps. All other countries are already in the NATO. So Russia is very firm about it, and their demands have been basically on these issues only. The Europeans and the NATO and USA have rejected them, and then they are still sort of trying to force Russia and they are trying to force Russia back, because of course Russia is not the USSR, and they are given the strength of all the sanctions. They are a bit on the defensive, but Russia has one trump card, is that they are the major supplier of gas
to Europe. Yeah.
Yes, and the Europeans are very afraid that if the gas is shut up by the Russians, what will happen?
Economies, a lot of several economies will collapse, isn't it? If,
well, they are already looking for all options, and I am told that it came in news that the Americans are talking with the Qataris, who are one of the largest suppliers, to sort of what you call supply gas if and when Russians stop it. But then
it could be a long process. They have to set up pipelines and
it can go through. It can go on ships also. Yeah. That is not an issue. But Qatar has said that they have long-term supply contracts with various other countries, and they have said that they will need American help to convince the other countries to sort of waive their conditions, so that the Qataris can.
But, you see, Praveen, the NATO has said they will not send troops to Ukraine. Britain said they will not send British troops to Ukraine.
Yes.
So even if Putin invades, which means Ukraine doesn't believe they'll invade, if Russia invades, then what happens?
As I told you, I don't see Russia invading. They don't gain anything. They are already under immense sanctions. And once they invade, even if they stop the gas, there will be huge sanctions against Russia. And both sides are nuclear powered. So you see, the deterrence of nuclear power is definitely there. So in my view, I don't see Russia attacking, but then this again is developing like the Cuban crisis, if you remember. So one side has to back out, and let's see how long this stalemate continues, and what is the sort of compromise arrived at that. You see, some sort of compromise will have to come. But war is not going to happen. I don't think so. It will be very bad for. But after COVID, there will be another. You'll see petrol at $1.75 over here.
That's what will happen. Yeah. That was Canada sending some training troops and.
People are sending all these soft material, but no military hardware is going there. No troops are going there. No foot on the ground.
Now coming back to Canada, and the big news was the ouster of Erin O'Toole as the leader of the Conservative Party. That was a big blow to him personally, I think.
But weren't you expecting it? Weren't you expecting it?
I was, because the Conservative base was not very happy with him.
First of all, you see, having lost an election which they were expecting to win.
Yes.
That itself, after that, he survived for such a long time, despite being so soft to the Liberal Party on various issues. He survived for a long time, and then ultimately the axe had to fall, and it fell very badly, 75 against 43 or whatever it is.
73 against 45.
That means that he had no support in the caucus.
And see, the problem is, from a true blue conservative, that was what he projected himself as, and he was, I think, later becoming, turning his color into, I think,
He tried
a red Tory rather.
he
was a
tried
red
to
man.
compromise both sides of the conservative divide,
Different
which didn't work out. It really didn't work, and he moved more towards the red part than the more blue part.
And that's the worst thing was, I think, was the carbon tax. He opposed the carbon tax at the beginning, and then as the months progressed, he started talking of his own carbon tax policy, which of course Western Canada does not like that at all. I mean, Canadians don't like it.
Yeah, and the Conservative Party, again, as you said, the true blue color,
Yeah.
They prefer a more sort of nearer to Trump leadership than
Yes,
nearer
a
to.
bit more aggressive,
Yes.
aggressive people, and the core values of the Conservative Party. I think Erin O'Toole forgot it or sort of bypassed many of those principles or supporters, the views which he should have done. Then I think he could have continued, or even won the election for that matter.
And don't you think the successor is a bit on the other side?
Yes, Candice Bergen, I think she's a little more to the right of center or right of right, I would say.
Right, yes.
And now who? She's an interim leader. I think she'll be quite a firm leader. I think she has a lot of support. Whom do you think is the next chief?
I don't know. Most of the leaders who have been asked, the current premiers, they said no. And
Peter MacKay is also red. He's also a little bit red in color instead of the blue. So we don't know what will happen to him.
but at least he's not said no. Peter MacKay and Paul Weir or whatever. These are the two.
Paul Weir, he is also a right wing, but I think he has a lot of the base support for him.
Yeah, and he's in the parliament. He's in the
an MP
caucus.
already.
So
Peter MacKay is not an MP.
I'm not so sure, but I don't think so. Yeah.
And of course, Jason Kenney, I don't know. He
said no.
will be interested. He said no.
He said no.
What about Doug Ford?
He said no.
Doug Ford is not.
No, he also said no. So all the premiers have said no. They said our hands are full in the state. They don't want to venture lose this. Like in India also, you see the chief ministers are happy being chief ministers.
Yeah, because see, they have to wait another 3-4 years if for the next elections to come along, and then they lose the position in their provinces.
Yeah.
That's what is going to happen.
And Ford is doing quite well, and he's expected to win. So why should he go? Why should he go? Yeah.
And of course, another big news was the India budget which passed last week.
Yeah, it has been appreciated in various international quarters also, but domestically, of course, there'll always be opposition and there'll always be sounds about it. But the concept of what Atmanirbhar Bharat was propagated with a vision of the future, that has been the backbone of this budget presentation, where much more funds have been allotted to infrastructure development, environmental development, human resources, and looking at the future, and much more of digitalizing the economy, and cryptocurrency has sort of
yes, that's very interesting.
That is one very, because initial sounds made by the government was that cryptocurrency will not banned and this and that, but now digital currency has been, cryptocurrency has been accepted as an asset.
Yes, and then it will be taxed.
And it will be taxed at a 30% rate as an asset, but not as a currency. But currency also will be coming up next year or in the near future. The RBC will be launching a cryptocurrency, a digital currency, which will sort.
Digital currency.
But you see, the problem with the cryptocurrency is not regulated. If you have a regulated digital currency, nobody will have a problem, because everybody wants his savings or his money to be secure. Digital currency is pure risk.
Of course, Bala, the finance minister, says it's the budget is a plan for the next 25 years. So it will be whole digital future for India.
Well, for Modi and the BJP, it's a plan for 2024. Yeah, it's not aimed in next election, because all these investments, etc., are, so the fruits of these
will come only very much later.
Much later, but it will start showing in 2024 when the elections are going to be fought.
So it's being well timed rather.
Yeah, it's a well timed move, so that people are aware that long-term development is going to take place, and which is so. This has been appreciated by the IMF also.
Yes, and the industry bodies in India.
Industry bodies also.
And stock market has gone up
Gone
again.
up,
So.
and yeah.
Well, I think why 25,000 kilometers of national highway.
National highways have been a great success in the entire Modi tenure from the beginning.
And they want to increase it further.
They want to increase it further. So
I think he was planning like the United States interstate highways, the crisscrossing the country. That should be a. He was talking something about what Parvatmala also now, and Sagarmala he had rivers.
All of my Hindi is not that fluent.
But he wants to link all the rivers.
The Mitro lingo.
Yeah, Mitro lingo. Yeah. And of course, they're making fun of the Mitros. They say, "Oh, Mitro sounds like Omicron." Omicron. So, I think Shashi Tharoor sent a cartoon. I think. Somewhere I saw it in Twitter. On Twitter.
Shashi Tharoor did a stand-up comedy somewhere.
I have not seen.
I have seen it. I'll try to find it out and send it to you. It's basically, and he has joked upon himself also. I liked it.
Okay.
Very Tharoorian way he has quipped on his own language. He started with his stand-up by providing a dictionary to the audience.
Okay.
Look at it if you don't understand me.
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting now because budget is done now. COVID, of course, I think Canadian doctors are saying we'll have to learn to live with COVID-19.
Yeah, you be prepared for a COVID vaccine every
year, like a flu vaccine.
Like a flu, I have taken the flu vaccine, the COVID vaccine. Now, last time I went to a doctor, he said I should take the pneumonia vaccine.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Tetanus vaccine. Nobody has any problems there. Yeah. So I think.
So flu and COVID will be an annual situation for all of us. Others, of course, once you take it.
So I think we'll have to
but it's become an endemic now. They have not declared it as an endemic, but most of the countries have started treating it.
Planning for that also.
Treating it because here also they say if you have it, no need to come to hospital, test it, stay home, isolate yourself, take these medicines and relax. As it is, Omicron is more of low symptoms and no symptoms.
No, and mortality rate is very low.
Very low. So, hospitalization is low. That is the main thing which is a concern of the government.
Yeah. And so I think you will be buying some shares from Pfizer shares. Pfizer and Moderna shares. That's a good buy, isn't it?
I'm not a I've been in short bureaucrat, a typical bureaucrat. What you are getting, get relaxed and put them in secure savings. Okay. Nothing in share market because you see, then you keep on thinking कि क्या होगा. The best
Pfizer and Moderna can only go up now. There's no way it's going down. It's going to be a annual booster shots.
Yeah, but you see, it's a very tricky when all these successful, like the stock market has fallen down because Facebook, that Meta has collapsed.
They lost
Shopify is facing trouble. Amazon had, so all these things were not expected to come down anyway. Yeah. And people have lost tons of money.
Yeah, right.
So companies doing well does not really mean that the shares will go up. The people who have bought the shares will keep on gaining, but the shares will go up. I don't know. I don't understand the share market. It's something which is very complicated for me.
The big thing was India as a defense sales. India is going to sell BrahMos missiles to Philippines.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Now we are graduating into a different level.
I mean, the problem would be if Philippines uses that to sink. It's a ship sinking missile. So if will they use it against Chinese intrusion into their territorial waters?
You see, any country will go into an aggressive or a defensive war when forced into. Philippines is not in the business of raising his heads up and saying, I want to become a regional power. No. So all these, like India has been also always buying weapons for defensive purposes. We have always said that we will never attack any country and we will use arms only if attacked and to protect ourselves. Right. So I'm sure, I don't know what Philippines has, but then I don't expect it is a defensive weapon. So if Chinese do something and they react, then fine. Then we will sell more. India will sell more.
I know. Anyway, I think thank you, Praveen.
Not at all,
We,
not-
we covered a lot of subjects today. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening to Viewing VNN, and we'll meet for our next episode next
Next
Friday.
week?
Praveen,
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.